Hi, welcome to another YouTube video. My name is Paul. Today I want to talk about the healing of chronic pain and the fact that it's a big change. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you've been in pain for many years, in my situation, chronic pain has been with me for the whole of my adult life. So yeah, since I was about 14, so 25 odd years, struggling with pain and to work through and to heal and to actually feel that pain and the tension in my body and my muscles reduce. It was and still is a big change. I want to explain a little bit about change in general, because change is something that we often resist. Even small changes, sometimes we can find ourselves going back into old habits that we kind of wish we didn't do, but we still do. And the key being habit. So being creatures of habit, making any change from our usual way of being can be difficult. And with chronic pain, if chronic pain is your usual way of being, i.e. you have back pain or other chronic conditions that plague your everyday experience and essentially make it difficult sometimes to get through the days, even though it is difficult, that is a habit that your system is in. And to see the picture a bit differently, i.e. to really take on board the mind-body healing technique, working with your emotions, these sort of researched and well-validated ways in which chronic pain can persist in our body, then you're going to have to accept that change is a massive part of the journey. And that's not just, I'm not just talking about small changes here. I'm talking about the way that we think about our pain, the way that we feel about our pain, the activities in our life that cause stress and how to reduce those activities, the people and the situations in our lives that maybe adding a more negative tone to our existence, then we might need to change. We might need to be apart from people that normally we spend a lot of time with. We might need to shift an attitude towards our pain that we've had for a long time. Like, for instance, it's quite common for frustration and depression to start to kick in after some years of chronic pain. It was for me, and what I didn't realize was how much I was in the habit of being in a bit of a victim space, being on a bit of a downer vibe in relation to my pain, for not feeling bad about not being able to do the things I wanted to do, all of these natural things essentially that come with chronic pain. When you're trying to heal, you have to learn to change the narrative, and the narrative is being more kind to yourself, recognizing those unconscious elements and emotional energy that keeps our pain intact, and essentially working through those. This is why it's a big change, because for years we haven't been touching elements like deep emotions and things like that. It was for me when I started doing this mind-body work. I was a little bit oblivious as to the task that I was about to take on. I'm not oblivious anymore, and I can tell you right now, there is an awful lot to take care of in oneself, and there are many ways in which we have to shift and adapt and I guess move to ways of thinking and being and showing up in the world that support our healing, support our nervous system, support our reduction of stress in our lives, to bring a bit of space and a bit of perspective. Because if you're in chronic pain and you may be feeling emotionally heightened and a bit stressed, then often we get tunnel vision and we don't see the whole picture. So it's being able to recognize some of the core elements that are building up your experience of pain, and essentially can keep that pain going for a longer period of time than you would probably like, and it was in my case, and I would like too. But I would say you have to move into that space with a recognition that the change is going to be difficult, and you've got to be humble with yourself. It's very easy to intellectualize change and think, oh yeah, well I know this now, so okay, let's change. Yeah, I would love for that to be the case, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. So, but it does. So yeah, so you have to be more realistic, but it doesn't have to stop you from taking on the task. It's a difficult balance. It is not an easy thing to do, to really look at yourself in the mirror and open up to that deep emotional content and open up to those things that reinforce your pain and old belief systems. Like mine, for instance, was back pain running in the family. I'm always going to have back pain and that I've just got a weak back, like certain family members, for instance, a belief system. That's actually not true, but I manifested that in the way that I thought about my pain. I manifested that belief and that idea of my future, of my back. I am always going to have a weak back, or I'll always have back pain. And that's not necessarily the case. But I didn't really know another narrative, so I had to be very honest with myself, realize the things that I'd created that revolve around maintaining that pain as a sense of my identity, and I had to create another identity that revolved around health and the healthy things that I was doing, and I actually acted that out. I started doing martial arts training more often with Qigong and Kung Fu. I started playing football again. I started showing myself, both in my body and my mind, that I am fit and I'm healthy. And as with mind body pain, there's often not that much physical, if any, physical damage that's causing the pain. So if that's you, then yeah, that too, the realization that there is no physical cause for the pain. So changing those systems of belief about your pain, changing the emotional energy in relation to when the pain comes up, and also in predicting the pain, when the pain's going to come, relationships that you're in, putting others in, I guess putting others first instead of your own needs. And I mean that in a healthy manner of looking after yourself. It doesn't mean you don't need to shun people, or still be kind, still be nice, but be kind and nice to yourself first if you can. And it's often with these things, it sounds easier than it can be in practice, but it doesn't need to be a big scary process. It needs to be a humble, aware process where you can come in, and if you're working through healing, figuring out what your intention is. Are you looking to just reduce the pain a bit, to add a bit more quality of life? Are you looking to eradicate your pain? Are you looking to at least find out whether this emotional stuff and this brain training, this mind-body approach to healing, whether that's actually something that you believe in and that you can get on board with, is also part of the challenge, because yeah, for many years maybe you've had another message. It was for me. I had no real idea that any of this stuff kind of existed until in recent times. So yeah, I think I'll leave it there, because there's quite a lot anyway packaged there. And the main message is that healing chronic pain is a big change. It will be challenging. There will be resistance, because we are creatures of habits, and even if the habit is not so good for us, often we find ourselves stuck there. So be humble about that, be aware about that, recognize that it will be a challenging process, but don't let that put you off, because if you do enough of the work that I've mentioned in some of my other videos around repressed emotions, deep anger, sadness, doing a journaling practice, these sorts of things, doing some exercise, looking after yourself, making those decisions that turn the tide from being in a space of feeling a bit shit about yourself and about the pain to feeling a little bit better and more optimistic about how your life can be. And with that sense of humbleness and that sense of awareness that change can be hard, it won't happen overnight, and you need to give however long it takes in order to heal, in order to come to a better space inside yourself. So I hope that helped. I hope that doesn't put you off, because change can be tough, but keep going, and I'll see you in the next one.